So, by the title of this video, I know I'm a little bit late to the party here, but I'm going to try to be as quick and to the point with this. Unfortunately, I don't own all the Doppler and Gamma Doppler knife finishes, but I believe that there's a ton of videos on YouTube already that examines the progressive changes. If you guys want me to record one myself that compiles it all into one video, just let me know in the comments and I might actually go ahead and do that. The purpose of this video is to catalog the items that I've been holding onto, aka my inventory, as a reflection of the recent CS2 changes to items. I have a similar video a while back, and that video I believe covers the first major change to Dopplers and Fades after the release of the CS2 beta. If you haven't watched that video, I suggest you do if you're curious about the development of the current Dopplers and gems up to this point, but if you don't want to watch that video, I'm going to throw some quick comparisons up on the screen so you guys have a reference to what I'm talking about. I've been debating on making this video because I didn't want to come off as arrogant for showcasing a relatively expensive inventory, but I decided that because the CS2 devs can change my skins at any moment, which they have many times over, I kind of want a record of how my inventory looks like at a certain time point. And now that I got that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy this mini inventory showcase. Alright, so let's start with the Ruby first, because that's what I have on right now. Okay, so to my understanding, people are saying that the Ruby looks, well, pretty much all the Doppler gems look a lot better now, but in my opinion, the improvements to Rubies are very marginal. I feel like the reason why people said the Doppler gem Rubies look better now are because the relative Dopplers, the phase 1s, 2s, 3, 4s, they all got nerfed heavily in the latest, not the latest update, but the update before this. The update that basically screwed over a lot of the Doppler, Gamma Doppler, and Marble Fades, which Valve promptly addressed, literally within 24 hours. Ripped the Phase 2 panic sellers, by the way. That was atrocious. I think they lost quite near like 30% of the actual value of it just to have it revert to being normal again, relatively. But in my opinion, I think the hot fix to the Dopplers and Gamma Dopplers, they're not one-to-one to where they were the patch prior to what happened before. So like 4 months ago, they're not the same as what they are right now, and I think they're very close, but they're not one-to-one in my opinion. And I think that's because every time you manipulate, okay, first, before I say anything, so before anyone says like, oh, they're going to buff or nerf like certain Doppler gems, it has nothing to do with the actual, well, everyone knows this, it has nothing to do with the actual pattern template itself. They're not like adjusting the colors, quote unquote. All they're doing is tweaking how the lighting is being shown on these different finishes. For example, when they tweaked the finishes for the Dopplers, and I guess for the Gamma Dopplers, they inherently screwed over the Marble Phase as well. That wasn't intended, obviously. That's why they reverted it. I have no idea what their actual true intentions are when it comes to Valve, you know, changing what for what, you know, like they could be like, oh, the community says that these Rubies, Sapphires, and Emeralds, and Black Pearls, whatever, are looking not as, you know, good as some of these other phases. You know, we should tweak them a little, but then they screwed over the entire line of phases, you know what I mean? So I think they're trying to do it respectfully, and they're being very cautious about it. They understand that it's affecting the market heavily, but in my opinion, the improvements to at least Rubies, I'm going to show you on the screen side by side what they look like before the 2 updates we had recently, and I'm going to compare it to here. Probably is not going to be my own footage because I don't have any footage of a Karambit Ruby before the update, I'm pretty sure. Before the 2 updates. But I do have footage of a Bayonet Ruby, but because the lighting hits Karambits and Bayonets differently, I believe I showcased the Bayonet Ruby on this exact ramp here at this exact lighting. And just my overall opinion is that the Karambit Ruby is still very orange. You can see at the very tip here when the sun hits it at this angle that it's very orange. I don't really particularly like that. I think a Ruby should be extremely saturated red, and that should really be the only thing that you see. I know how light, this is not actually, there's no orange in the pattern template, I'm pretty sure. This is just the light making it look orange. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I do hope that this is not the final iteration. I don't think it will be. for any of the knife finishes, I think Valve is going to consistently tweak it. I think there's skins right now in the game that are not really sitting well with the community. I think people are saying, quote unquote, that the M4A1-S Printstream is sort of fixed, but in my opinion, the pearlescent effect should be a lot more saturated. Alright, so quick intermission here. This is a small clip or a section of a extremely long recording of me and my good friend and big YouTuber WiterallyCS going through every single weapon and knife finish that was changed, you know, mainly the Dopplers and everything, on the first major update to skins, you know, before they actually fixed Dopplers and Gamma Dopplers. And we were going through the M4A1-S, and we were saying how they, you know, kind of slightly added a pearlescent effect finally to the M4, you know, Printstream finishes. But I'm going to show you on the screen how it should look like compared to CS and what we have right now. And the reason why I included this clip is if you guys are interested in seeing like the full, you know, I'm going to edit it of course, but like the full rambling of these different skins with, you know, me and Witerally, just let me know in the comments and I'll get to it. But the reason why I haven't posted that is because, you know, how the latest update, you know, the reversion of skins, you know, the fixing of Dopplers, you know, that came out less than 24 hours since the first update came out, and that kind of rendered all the footage kind of outdated because all the other, you know, CSGO YouTubers and people were already on the case, you know, putting out all the content as fast as possible about the recent changes and stuff. And you know how this video in itself is kind of late. I just wanted to kind of showcase my inventory in, you know, but also like have it as a library for me to look back on while, you know, simultaneously talking about these changes. But anyways, if you guys want to see, you know, mini Witerally Scuttle podcast session of the changes, then let me know in the comments. Alright, back to the video, I guess. But anyways, another thing that people have been saying, I know this Glock has a lot of stickers on it, is that it's kind of hard to see the fade because of stickers, but just hold on with me, bear with me for a second here. So the fade lines, if you can see the fade lines, I mean, let me just bust out the op because it's better to show you this way. So the fade percentage, or you can see how the yellow and the pink and the purple are supposed to blend in with each other. Well, I'm pretty sure before this update the fade lines weren't as prominent. I'm pretty sure it was much more faded than this, and a lot of people I believe are complaining about that. But there's a lot of things that they need to fix in regards to fades in general, because fades, they used to have prominent wear on them. You see with this Karambit Ruby, it's a 0.02, but it still has a lot of scuffs on it. So in CSGO, there was a lot of scuffs and wear on fade knives and weapons in general, but that's not really the case with you know, the finish anymore. So this op is supposed to be a 005, but it looks perfect. There's no distinction between this and just a regular factory new op. I'm pretty sure minimal wears are even more like screwed up. Not screwed up in the sense that they have more wear, but it's just that they don't really look worn. Minimal wear fade offs. I could be wrong though. I'll show a picture on the screen. If I am wrong, then you know I eat shit, but whatever. So there's that. I'm gonna go to, well, before that, I do want to showcase some cattle crafts that I have picked up. My good friend Witerally has posted his recent video on how you can't get a best position large sticker on the P90 anymore. The sticker positions on many weapons are they're all linear, so there's no discrepancies in sticker sizes anymore depending on the position. They're all the same size, more or less. I believe the R8 revolver is one that, you know, negates this rule, but goes against this rule. But for future P90 crafts, you can't get this big sticker anymore, which is why I picked this up not too long ago. I believe that if Valve doesn't change anything in regards to the current sticker sizes for non-legacy sticker crafts, then the value of discontinued stickers on the best positions for many weapons will go up. But anyways, yeah, Katowice stickers in general should be one of the, if not the most saturated stickers in the game. They're known for that. In CSGO, I believe it was just it was just a little bit more saturated than this, but I'm also nitpicking because, you know, like, if you pay like thousands of dollars for a craft, I want it to look as good as possible, so I might be about that, but I've also recently picked up this Mac 10 LDLC, and again, I'm gonna nitpick as much as possible, but the LDLC was once, you know, top 3, top 4, maybe not top 3, but at least top 5 stickers, Katowice hollows. But in CSGO, I'm gonna put up another image on the screen or video. The LDLC is very washed, so it's not as saturated, and the hollow effect is very grainy. So I don't know if you can see that, but how the LDLC blends into the different color, it's very staticky. You can see the individual pixels going in and out like this. It's not, that used to not be the case for CSGO, and I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, the saturation is down, and just overall, this sticker is not performing as well as I think it should. I think right now it's at $20,000 or something like that, around that ballpark, but Vox is around 30k plus. And I think that LDLC should technically be more vivid and vibrant than Vox. I think the holographic kind of sticker spectrum, color spectrum, should be much more, I don't know, eye-catching for the LDLC than the Vox, but this is my own personal opinion. And the final, well, not the final, but I've also, second to final, T-sided craft that I picked up is this Deagle. The recent hollow is probably, you know, top 3 at least, most coveted. I mean, it's reflected by the price. I think recent hollow, ibuypower, and Titan hollow are all hovering around 70k right now, at least on buff. Rip buff 163, by the way. But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty much the same as CSGO, but again, I just wish the light just wasn't so dull around, you know, the gun itself. Pretty much every single skin in this game either has like this huge bipolarism, kind of bipolar, kind of, you're either super saturated or you're just not saturated enough. And I believe for a lot of the skins, especially like skins like the Desert Eagle Koi, which is super washed out white, that still needs to be fixed. Or the Printstream, like I said before, those need help, like genuinely speaking. But I don't know. I just wish, I'm just complaining at this point. I just wish the Katos were a little bit more vibrant for what they are. You know, the best stickers in the game. Finally, I have the Hellraisers StatTrack field tested AK. I picked this up not too long ago. I got it for a very, you know, reasonable price. I think the Hellraisers look okay. They look pretty much on par with CSGO. They don't look bad at all. The Titans and the ibuypowers, though, I do have complaints about. Again, with just the overall pattern of saturation. They're not as saturated as CS, I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is not because the sticker, this is something wrong with the stickers, just because of the overall lighting in CS. See how the P250 is very gray, washed out? It should be pitch black, which looks bad because as like a background to the Titan Hollow, it's not very, it shouldn't, it just doesn't pop as much, is what I'm saying. Okay, and onto the CT side. And this is the Talon Sapphire, and the changes to the Sapphire are more dramatic than for the Ruby, I will admit. See, when you're holding the Sapphire in the dark, see when I went up the ramp over here, you can tell that this is very blue-purple, because you're not seeing as much green in the light. See right here, this is kind of what you would expect a Sapphire to look like. But when you go into the light, see up to here, it's fine. But then when you go into the light, right, like here, especially on the play side for this particular Sapphire, you can see how on the tip it's very green cyan color, and then when you look at it in certain light, like right here, you can see that there's a big splotch of green right there, and this splotch here is not very noticeable in CSGO, and everyone knows this. This has been known for many months now. Sapphires still don't really look, you know, up to standards to CSGO at least, but they have marginally improved Sapphires from the latest update. I think the most drastic change out of the gems is are two Sapphires. I'll have a video of what a Sapphire looked like before the two updates, but it was much worse than this. You could barely tell that a Phase 3 or Phase 4 was a Phase 3 or Phase 4, Sapphire was a Sapphire before the two updates, but now you kind of can, but it's still not, you wouldn't, so the point of having a Sapphire, right, is to, when you have a Sapphire, you don't want people to look at the name tag and be like, oh yeah, this guy renamed his Sapphire to Talon Sapphire. You want this guy to, you want people around you to kind of know that you have a Sapphire just by looking at the blade. But in this case, you're kind of left wondering still if this is a Sapphire or not. It could just be a very good Phase 4, and I'm gonna show you what a Karambit Phase 4 looks like in a second here. Right after I show you some of the other Katos. But again, this is a Hellraiser USPS, you know, Kato 15s on the other slots without the handle, and they look pretty decent, I would say. Both the 14 and the 15s. Nothing, I don't complain about the Hellraisers at all. Alright, and now for the MP9. So here's a little side story about the MP9, and I've already yapped my friend's ear off about this Witerally and Toaster. You'll see them in future videos, or you hear about them in future videos, but it was incredibly hard to get a good Kato MP9. It was probably the hardest thing to get. The other Kato crafts that I have, you know, the AK, P250, P90, Deagle, they're relatively easy to get as long as I was willing to pay the price. This one, I needed to add over 10 people who hold best position Kato hollows on. The LGB on this, the best position LGB on the far right is a hollow, and the middle sticker complexity is a hollow as well. The other two, LGB on the handle and the reason on the tip, they're not hollows, they're papers. But anyways, yeah, this MP9 was extremely hard to get. I don't know, well, I do know why. It's because I did some research, right? And I'll put the statistics up on the screen. Future Scuttle can tell you all about. So, Future Scuttle here. So basically, it was like late night, and I was rambling about skins, and I was doing research for MP9 Kato hollow skins that don't have the hollow on the handle and are not banned. And I was compiling like a list of feasible MP9 Kato hollow skins that I was able to purchase, and this first slide is me going down the list of every single Kato hollows and what, you know, hollows are on what, you know, weapons, you know, calculating or just skimming the data off FloatDB to see, you know, which ones are available for me to purchase, you know, what again, like what are not banned. On the second slide, I went into, you know, the percentages of Kato hollows on what kind of MP9s. You know, the highest tier MP9 would be Hot Rod, second highest Hypnotics, then, you know, Bulldozer and Witerallys or Anomalies, because they're just specialized. You're either crafted recently or there's very few in existence. And only specific Kato hollows exist on Bulldozers. There's only one Cloud Mystic, 2 Vox, 1 LGB, and 1 Dignitas. So not all Katos exist for MP9 Bulldozers. Certain, you know, Katos have duplicate hollows on them, so then we have to subtract them from the equation. And then I believe I came out to a total of 112 actual feasible MP9s with Kato hollows on them in existence that are not banned, and the hollows are not on handles because no one wants MP9 hollow on the handle. That's the worst position. So I did a comparison where, you know, there's uh, technically 855 Karambit Rubies that are not banned and that are not duped on FloatDB. So MP9 with a single catalogue hello is like about 7.5 times more rare than a Karambit Ruby, yada yada. It was extremely hard. I had to message a bunch of Chinese traders and they were all like freaking rude to me and they would not give me a good price and I had to overpay like crazy, and it's just finding one is incredibly hard. I suggest if you like a challenge in, you know, CSGO skins, try to find yourself a actual good Cattlecraft MP9 that isn't in good condition, that has the hollow on the top of the gun, not on the handle. And little known fact, there are, I believe I said in my document that there are only 12 MP9s that have 2 or more cattle hollows in existence. So if you want an MP9 that has, you know, 2 or more cattle hollows, you're gonna have to apply them yourself. And I'm just really happy that I got one of the 12. You know, it's an LGB and complexity, but I'm still very happy. Okay, feature scuttle out. Now I'm gonna go to my Howl, and I'm gonna put a side-by-side comparison of the Howl right now, to this day, at this point, to the Howl that I showcased in this exact spot 8 months ago. So I think in my memory, it should be the exact same. There's no difference whatsoever. I'm pretty sure. Maybe they screwed around with the black coloring a little bit, but to my understanding, they haven't changed a single thing about the Howl. And now we will examine the... And now we're going to examine the Icarus Fell, and I've said this before, but in my previous video, but the Krakow Foils, they have a lot to be desired. So they're extremely flat. And I know a lot of my friends, my high tier trader, my Krakow gold lover, enjoyer friends, they always complain about how flat the Krakows have become. They have no texture to the main body parts or the actual autograph part of the stickers. And really, many of the foils have lost that 3D texturing when they were ported over to CS2, such as the flammable foil. It doesn't look as 3D as it did in CSGO, and I don't have a crown foil on me right now. I don't have a craft or the sticker right now, but the crown foils, a lot of people are saying that they look not as good as CSGO either. So that's a fix that they need to probably do in the future. I don't know how they're going to go about it, but definitely needs some work. Alright, and for my gloves, my Kingsnake gloves, so the reason why I purchased this pair, so I have right now, I actually have 2 pairs. I have a field tested version and a minimal wear. The reason why I have these is because they're kind of, they're recovering right now, but I bought these relatively at their lowest point, which is actually not too long ago. I think it was like maybe a month or 2 ago. They hit their all-time low. Maybe it's a little bit more than that, but you get what I mean. It's recently they've dipped, they've crashed pretty hard, and that's because they're not the most white gloves in the game. So the Snow Leopards have preceded these as they've taken the spot as the most white glove in the game. The under kind of coat to these gloves are a green/yellow, whereas the undercoat to the Snow Leopards are a more pinkish white, and it's a very subtle pink, so it might as well be pure white. And although these these Kingsnakes are, you know, lower in population, they're quote-unquote more rare, they're just not as attractive as they used to be in CS. They used to be more white than the Snow Leopards. Now, you know, they're not. So there's no real reason to buy Kingsnakes, you know, to buy pure white gloves, unless you like the specific pattern of the snake skin more than the leopard skin. But yeah, no, I bought these pair I bought these Kingsnakes because I'm hoping that Valve will, because they, fixed or quote unquote fixed or adjusted knives, that they're gonna move on to adjusting gloves. And that's also one of the reasons why I bought Vice gloves. And these are a .13 min wear pair of Vice gloves with a flawless left hand and a near flawless right. I needed to overpay quite a bit to get this pair, but Vice gloves, they're not as good as they could be. I believe in the beta, they were much more vivid. The palms of the Vice gloves were more saturated, the pinks were more saturated, the grays were more, vulcanized rubber. Just everything about the gloves were just better in the CS2 beta. But ever since they nuked the gloves once, I don't know if people remember this, but the Vice gloves used to be this sickly brown orange color, but then they since have slightly adjusted the gloves to be more acceptable or congruent to the CS:GO pair. But right now they're not. You wouldn't say that these are more vivid than Hedge Mazes or Pandoras. I think those take the cake or take the place as king of the most vibrant and attractive looking gloves right now. But I'm hoping that because I bought these at a reasonable price, that when Valve does adjust gloves again, which I do think they will happen in CS2's lifetime, they're gonna adjust gloves at least once. That they're gonna adjust these to look a little bit better, hopefully. Same story with the Kingsnakes. That's why I have a couple pair of them. Okay, now I'm gonna equip the Doppler Phase 4. Alright, and this is I believe it's a pattern 205. Yes, a pattern 205, second best max blue phase 4. Phase 4s are known to be the most blue phases besides Sapphires, right? And this dude, who's an absolute freak on broskins, he's like a really ancient member of the CSGO, trading / item community, skins community. He had a script which analyzed all the phase 4s. This is supposedly the second bluest pattern you can get. I'm gonna throw on the screen what the first and second, third patterns are, but they're relatively pretty much the same in terms of blueness. Just a couple pixels of blue more for the first place, less for the third. This is supposed to be the best fake Sapphire, and honestly, if you compare this to the Talon Sapphire, the blues are, the blues are the same blues. The only difference is that in the corner of the karambit here, it's a little bit black, a little bit dark blue black, and that's the only defining feature of phase 3s and 4s when it comes to distinguishing them to karambit or any Sapphire for that matter. But you have to ask yourself, is this knife, would you pay 3 times less to get this knife? Would you pay 3 times more to get a Sapphire that's marginally better? I think that right now Sapphires are still not. The only reason why they're priced that way is because of their legacy pricing. You know what I mean? If Valve were to release Sapphires at the current state right now, I'm not saying for Rubies or Emeralds, I'm just saying for Sapphires, they would not be warranted this price by any means, in my personal opinion. And just to show you guys that this is indeed what is known as a fake Sapphire, I'm going to throw up on the screen what a normal phase 4 looks like in a relatively good lighting. So this is one of the best max fakes you can get, and on the screen here is a normal phase 4. Alright, well, for the most part, that's pretty much it for my inventory. I do have lots of plans to make some interesting videos moving forward with this channel. I've been theory crafting, in my freaking dungeon, basement, apartment, whatever the fuck. And I've been thinking a lot about the future of CS. I think the future is pretty bright. It's just that right now we're kind of in an awkward state where we're kind of ironing out the bare essentials. you know, people are used to what they have, and then we have less of what we had in CS:GO. So people are very incontent. People are very anxious. You know, people are unsure about the future of CS. But I do think that this intermittent period is necessary to perfect and make a quality game that we can all enjoy and really see evolve in future. See evolve even more in the future. You know, moving forward. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. If you want to see, you know, any other videos, you know, you have any ideas you want to suggest, please comment down below. I beg you to, you know, like and subscribe. I don't know what the exact number is, but I think like 98% of my viewers are not subscribed or something like that. I mean, that makes sense because I only have like 200 subscribers. But if you do subscribe, that'll make me quite happy, and, you know, that'll make me want to make more videos for you. So, I guess, until next time, peace.